Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity in Naperville. I'm Kitty Benson, the minister here, and so glad to spend this morning with you. Thanks for making time to join us. We have lots of good things planned for you this morning, and to me, this is the best time at the beginning of the week to really recenter and refocus on who we are as spiritual beings so we can take that into our daily life throughout the week and get a little bit of a head start on life, yeah? And we are going to enjoy some music, first of all, with our band, High is Good. Ready to rock and roll over here? Yeah. We put our words up on the screen so that, the songs are easy. You can catch on pretty quickly. We hope that you'll join us from home to sing along because every word that you sing is making a difference in your consciousness and changing who you are in the world. So let's all sing together.
Good morning, everyone. Words should be on the screen. Join us. Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. A mighty river is flowing, bringing life to the land. Abundance flows as I freely extend, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. I share from the fountain because I understand. More blessings flow as I simply let it roll, from head to heart to hands. Here we go. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Let's sing that chorus again. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. From head to heart to hands. From head to heart to hands. Yes! Oh! Did you feel it? Tell me you feel it. Spirit moving through you today. We have so much to be grateful for, so much to be thankful for in this beautiful morning. Not the least of which is the very core, the essence of our being. Surely we are cut from the finest cloth. Come on, Kevin, here we go. Keep it going, keep it going. Woo! I will not consider myself any less than who I am. Cut from the finest cloth, I am wonderfully made. See here now, I got me the best suit on. Cut from the finest cloth, I am wonderfully made. From a perfect God, perfect creation, from the Holy One, I've received this perfect God, perfect creation. From the Holy Word, I've received this revelation. From a perfect God, perfect creation. From the Holy Word, I've received this revelation. I will not consider myself any less than who I am. Let's declare that. I will not consider myself any less than who I am. Oh, declare now. I will not consider myself any less than who I am. Keep it going. I will not consider myself any less than who I am. Cut from the finest cloth, I am wonderfully made. Cut from the finest cloth, I am wonderfully made. Cut from the finest cloth, I am wonderfully made. Yes, we are.
Let's just take a moment in prayer and take that idea into our heart. That cut from the finest cloth, from the very presence of God's Spirit, we were created and exist. Cut from the finest cloth, I am wonderfully made. I will not consider myself any less than the Spirit, the Christ, the life, the peace, and the joy of God.
Yes.
God and I are one. We thank you, loving God, for this opportunity to be that light, to be that energy, to be that enthusiasm for life. As we know, there is nothing we need create, but simply allow the divine creation to shine through. And so we do. Amen. Will you help me speaking our invocation here on the screen, something that we say every week to remind us that all of the universe is for us. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And so it is.
I accept my perfection, perfection shaped by Spirit's hand. I embrace my wholeness, and in my wholeness, here I stand. Healing is remembering. Healing is remembering. Healing is just remembering who I am. I accept, and I accept my perfection, perfection shaped by Spirit's hand, and I embrace my wholeness, and in my wholeness, here I stand. Healing is remembering. Healing is remembering.
Yes, it is. Sounds like a mystery. Sounds like some kind of puzzle that you have to figure out. But I hope that by the time we're done today, you'll have some pieces of those puzzles. We've been talking about staging an awakening world for the last few weeks, and we're going to bring it to a close today, knowing that this is something that we could work on the rest of our life in order to allow it to express fully in the world. And you know, after going through 2020 together, we probably never even want to hear that year's name mentioned again. Hopefully moving into something bigger and better and full of health and vitality and infinite supply. And then I came across this scripture today from something that Jesus said. Kind of a downer, really. But I wanted to take a look at it, so let's just take a breath here. This comes from the book of John 16, where Jesus said, "In this world there will be tribulation." There will be tribulation. And you know, when you look that up in a variety of different translations of the Bible, that word tribulation shows up as, up here on the screen, suffering, distress, trouble, oppression, affliction, difficulties, trials, sorrows, persecution. They all made it into some Bible as a description of what Jesus is saying there will be. And you notice he's saying it as if it's not an option. You're going to be here on planet Earth. This is going to be part of the process. So as much as we would like to imagine that we'll never experience any tragedies or challenges again, Jesus said this will be the way it is. But notice how he finishes that statement. Be encouraged. Be encouraged. Look within yourself to bring forth your courage, because I have overcome the world. I have overcome. I have found a way through. I didn't necessarily come to tell you that this isn't going to happen. I just came to show you that there is a way through here. And that from his point of view, I think what he's trying to do is just make peace with the fact that this world is this way and will continually provide us with these challenges. But rather than resist it, be encouraged and know that we can move through it. Another part of the scripture he says up here is, I have told you this so that in me you may have peace. In me, in the Christ consciousness, when you are able to move into that state of awakening, you can address these issues in your life and still have peace. And it is that peace then that will show you the way through. So I wanted to go back just briefly and look at some of the qualities of this Christ consciousness, this awakening mind that we've been talking about for the last few weeks, because it is these spiritual principles that we base this awakening on. And we talk about the fact that even though it feels like there is a disease working against our country, or it feels like there is a recession working against our pocketbook, that there is death taking away our loved ones, it feels that way. And yet, at the same time, God's power, God as power, is still present. It's still expressing itself. It's still for us. Its nature is love. Its desire is to do good in our life. And so the awakening process is to be able to see that and make way for it, even in the midst of the tribulation. It's about teaching our ego to take a back seat and let the higher self come through. Let the Spirit of God come through as the very energy that God is. This universe is radiating with energy. Even science will tell us that it's a single field. And we would say it's an infinite field. It's a God field. It's the energy of Spirit itself. And it has found a way to lower its vibration so that it can express in this physical way that we all can touch and see and taste. And yet that spiritual presence is always available to us and giving of itself, able to provide for every need. So we remember that the omnipresence of God is always available, and the omniscience, the one mind, the all-knowing. As many challenges as we've been through and will go through in our life where we say, I give up, I don't know how, we can awaken to the idea that Spirit does know how, that the divine mind does have the solutions that we're seeking. And it's about us aligning our mind, renewing our mind, tapping into what we called the superconscious, remember a few weeks ago, that Christ mind within us, so that we can be guided. It's what I think Paul was trying to guide the Romans to do in his letter from chapter 12. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds, so that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Part of this awakening process is also about separating ourselves from the collective consciousness. It's the big sleep. Wasn't there a movie, something named something like that? Was it called The Big Sleep? Yeah. Okay. I'm just thinking that's what we all do most of the time. We just all participate in the big sleep, the collective consciousness. As a matter of fact, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, French philosopher from quite a while back, called it the noosphere, Noosphere. And he imagined it as a thinking layer that surrounds the outside of the planet. And that you and I, our thoughts, are contributing to it all the time. And that we also draw from it, participate in it, and are being guided by it unless we can awaken. And so part of this process is realizing that it's there and that it is kind of contributing to our behavior, but we can stand up above it. Not only rise above that, but rise above this identity that I am human. Because you are not. You are living in a human body. You are coordinating with a human ego, but that is not your nature. You are spirit. And so we're talking about awakening by awakening to the fact that I am not limited to this human body that I'm dwelling within. And something that always excites me when I really sit with the idea is that I am creating my life experience. And if I don't like what I'm creating, I can change it. That is one of the powers that we are given, because there is that spiritual law working that simply responds to our thoughts and our feelings. So if we don't like the life that we're experiencing, we change our focus until we generate freedom by the feelings that come up with that focus. And all of these are expressions of an awakened being. What it's like to live from that consciousness, those are the truths that being depends on. And I wanted to add a few behaviors or expressions of an awakened being today, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how that being applies them to some of the world's major problems. So to begin with, we think of an awakened being as someone, up here on the screen, we're just going to pop these up here one at a time. First of all, an awakened being is naturally joyful. They're someone who is looking at life from a lighter point of view. And the reason that they do that is because they know that no matter what the circumstances look like in their life, there's solutions always available. So they don't take problems so seriously. They're also peaceful in nature. When we're all, tearing our hair out from the chaos around us, the awakened being approaches life from this very calm, peaceful idea that there's nothing working against me. There's only God here. And so what I'm going to do next is find a way to reveal that God self. Nothing working against me. And in that case, that means there's nobody that I need to push against. There's nothing that I need to fear. An awakened being is somebody who lives from a natural, loving, and compassionate energy. That not only can they know what the human ego is putting us through, having had one themselves, but they also see each being as spirit. And so rather than looking at someone as someone to be afraid of or to push against, they look at each person as someone who is God expressing, and that in any given moment, if they're having a bad day, that the awakened person looking at them as a being of light will actually help that light come forward. The awakened being loves with an attitude of allowing each person to be their own unique self, to respect who they are and how they choose to live their life. Now, if some of you are crying about what about the criminals, let's not talk about the criminal behavior. I'm just talking about people who are different than you in the way that they find meaning in life, in the way that they dress and eat and talk and what matters to them. An awakened being loves them celebrates their uniqueness and their differences and respects who they are. They let them be who they are. An awakened being is somebody who's not self-centered, where everything's all about me, but their self is centered. Their self is centered in this oneness, not only with God, but with each other. They feel that sense of connection to one another and recognize that this field is not only allowing me to give to them, but in my giving to them, it comes back to me. So we stay centered in that oneness, knowing that what I do to myself, I do to others, and vice versa. And they live from a higher meaning. When they're centered, they're seeing everything from a spiritual point of view first. The awakened being is someone who is humble. They don't have to prove themselves to anyone. They don't have to gain anyone else's validation. They simply just see that you and I are equal, that no one is better than me, and I am no better than anyone else. And so they're not in a constant competition with others. They're simply just being who they are. An awakened being is somebody who is insightful, which means that they are open to the ideas, the sight that comes from within. And that is where the Spirit of God dwells. That is how the Spirit of God communicates, is through our heart and into our consciousness. And that insightful point of view is able to see the big picture of life. It's able to know what really matters. It's able to know what doesn't matter, for heaven's sake. So it's not always getting all excited about things, but it's simply just calmly open and receptive to inner guidance. You feel it with intuition. You feel it with hunches. You feel it with dreams and synchronistic experiences. But that insight is something that is continually guiding the awakened being, realizing that the collective consciousness has no power over me as long as I stay connected to my inner sight. They're also devoting time to establishing inner strength, which means they are setting time aside every day to be still, to consciously connect with their spiritual realm that they are one with, to know what their very nature is and to know the nature of God. That someone who is awakened has shed that identity of I'm only human because they've spent enough time in the quiet that inner higher self is now leading the way for them. And so their strength comes from within because they look at everything through spiritual eyes, including who they are. And an awakened being is someone who is generous in nature. They know, first of all, where their good comes from and that it never runs out. And so they are continually able to give of themselves, of their time and their resources, because they know that they are drawing from the source as a channel of the source, and that it is their reason for being, is to be an expression of the divine that way. So when we think about the really big problems of life, you might think that none of those qualities are really going to solve them. I mean, if we've looked at this past year or any, major catastrophe in our world or challenge, we may say, this is too big to solve. That's why it keeps showing up for us. I mean, we've been fighting wars and battling cancer and waging war on drugs for years and years and years, and we don't seem to be making any headway at all. And I want you to just kind of notice the words that I just used, the verbs that I just used, the warring and the battling and the fighting. And our awakened beings know that kind of energy is actually using that law against the issue. If we treat these issues as the enemy, and if we respond to them with an energy of resistance as if they intend to do us harm, then we are simply giving it more power and lengthening its duration. Something that Eckhart Tolle wrote about how we do that individually from his book, A New Earth. He said sometimes people with dense pain bodies, and these pain bodies are things that each person accumulates within their ego over their lifetime, based on their point of view of life or their past experiences in life that were hurtful or harmful, and so much so that there's kind of this negative energy just built up in us. And we can kind of identify those people, when we're with them. If we are not one of them ourselves, sometimes we're asleep to the fact that we are one that's carrying a dense pain body. But he says that sometimes these people with dense pain bodies become activists fighting for a cause. The cause may indeed be worthy, and they're sometimes successful at first in getting things done. However, the negative energy that flows into what they say and do, and their unconscious need for enemies and conflict, tend to generate increasing opposition to their cause. Wherever they go, they find reasons for feeling bad, and so their pain body continues to find exactly what it's looking for. Nobody wants to have a pain body or express a pain body, but that's one of the things that does exist in our life if we are asleep. And awakening to that fact that it exists and that it needs to be released is part of the healing process. The awakened being, when they see this, not only the major problems in life, but the resistance to these major problems, what they're seeing is simply a call for help. A call for help from every direction. And that their approach would be to shift away from being against something and start working toward something. And that something is the solution, finding what the solution is. You're asking, as an awakened being, you're asking, what is the need here? What is this major issue or person that's having such a struggle calling for? What is the need? And then we awaken and approach this from a higher point of view in finding a solution. So it's about fulfilling the solution versus fighting the problem. And keep in mind that this isn't necessarily going to be about solving all world issues from one awakened person's point of view. I mean, even Jesus, when he came in to planet Earth, he didn't do what most people were expecting him to do, which is totally wipe out the Roman Empire. He did not do that. He didn't even bring peace on earth for every being. And, when we think about all the saints that we hold in esteem, we didn't make them saints because they eradicated some world issue. We honor Jesus and hold him as our way shower. We honor the saints because they were people who brought love into those major issues and struggles in the world. And in that love, they simply healed one person at a time, right? It's that consciousness of love that not only proved itself as a healer, but it became an inspiration for others. Those of us who do hold these saints and beings like Jesus in high esteem, we are inspired by their ability to be awake in a loving consciousness without the need to solve this worldwide issue. And one person at a time, we seek to make a difference. The work is about helping others awaken to their own divine potential. And then they get to be awake and continue to lead the charge to changing one person at a time. But the awakened being knows that divine potential is there. They see where the end result can be for an individual, and they hold that in consciousness and become a magnet for that energy to express itself through others because they are awake. So let's take this type of consciousness and see if we can apply it to a few of some major issues in the human condition. Something that's been going on from the beginning of time is world hunger or homelessness or poverty or in this day and age, it's about being unemployed or just living through, this recession that we've been through in the last years. And when we're experiencing any one of those major issues, the main beliefs and errors that contribute to it is a consciousness of lack, a belief in not enough, a belief in being powerless, a belief in no one's hiring, a belief in I'm too old to be hired, a belief in I'm not worthy of receiving. And it's those beliefs that the awakened being looks beyond and looks toward the divine potential instead. So when we talk about lack in any way, one of the first things an awakened being focuses on is God as source. It's that insight that we talked about earlier, all these qualities. Can we, show the qualities up on the screen one more time? So it's, this insight from Spirit that reminds us that everything, the food that we're seeking to eat or the clothing to wear or the roof over our head begins as the spiritual energy of God, which is everywhere, which is infinite. And an awakened being knows not only that the material energy is available, but also the ideas. As they give time to make a commitment to their spiritual growth and connection to their higher self, they know that they're going to receive these divine ideas to guide them through this problem. And they do it not from a place of fear or chaos, but joy and peace, because they know the solutions are already available. And they are approaching them from an energy of generosity, knowing that I'm here to be a channel for that good and that it will flow easily through me because I'm drawing on an infinite source. So the material goods are there in spirit. The divine ideas are there in consciousness. And it just requires a willingness on our part to be the channel for those things to flow through. That is how an awakened being deals with these major world issues, one person at a time, and standing firmly on these spiritual principles. Another thing that we've seen throughout the history of mankind is war, crime, violence of some kind, but also prejudice and inequality. And any of these major issues come back to a couple key issues that go on in the human ego. I am powerless and I am unworthy. And you might be thinking that I'm speaking of unworthy about the victim, but I'm actually speaking about the perpetrator. That the cause for perpetrating violence of any kind, of rejection, of domination, of a need to control, is because there is an inner belief that I am powerless or unworthy. And the awakened being knows exactly the opposite, not only for themselves, but for all those that they deal with. And so even when they're facing the perpetrators, they hold in their own consciousness a view of that person as a being of light that is simply just submerged a little bit more deeply in underneath the human ego that is believing that it is not enough. So the job of the awakened being in the face of everything from war to unconscious bias is to simply first see each being as they are. First within themselves as a being of light that's already perfect and whole, loved and loving. And then that they're expressing in the outer, no matter, who they choose to be or what their skin looks like, how they live, how they express their humanity. These are divine qualities, and I'm not talking about violence, obviously, but I'm talking about race, I'm talking about culture, I'm talking about the LGBTQ community, I'm talking about all those, the aging, for heaven's sakes. Anybody that we see as different or less than, each one of these expressions is God expressing in the human dimension. And so the awakened being not only sees that in others, but treats them as divine beings. All spirit, all of value, let's celebrate, let's rejoice in the way that we express our divine nature in the world. There's also, what we've seen on steroids this past year is disease and mental illness and basically stress, which I would like to say is the dominant cause of every illness in the body, every mental illness in the mind, is how stress can overtake our beingness. And when that happens, we might look at at COVID as something that has no cure, or we might look at cancer as something that has no cure. And some of us who live alone may be thinking, not only is there no cure out there, but there would be no care for me should I succumb to that, which causes depression. And these outer experiences can start to weigh on the inner. Also, when our inner being gets depressed, it tends to affect how our outer body starts to express. And so it can feel hopeless, when we look at something without a cure. It can feel hopeless and create a lot of fear in us. How does the awakened being approach this? If you've ever tuned into one of our healing services, we talk about this a lot. And it's a reminder that, first of all, this body, just like the food that we eat and the money we spend and the houses that we live in, are all of divine substance first. And all carry, especially our bodies, carry within it a divine intelligence that guides every cell to a natural state of well-being. Left to its own devices, the body expresses in health. Now, how is it that we don't leave it to its own devices? We add stress into our life. But when we leave it to its own devices, that means that we are an awakened being. We know that we're of spirit. We know that our body is of spirit, and we are constantly holding ideas and attitudes and energy that align with God as good, as love, as peace, as joy. And when our consciousness is aligned, then our body is aligned with spirit, and we know our natural state of health. When we get out of alignment, when we hear on the news that this virus is coming, that it's spreading, that it's taking over, that it's taking lives, it's easy for us to lower our energy, lower our thinking, lower our beliefs and our hope for the future to the point where there is no life out there. But the higher self and the awakened being knows that life is always present, that we can be at peace because we are always in the presence and as the presence of God as life, and that our higher self knows exactly what our journey is meant to be when it comes to life on earth or leaving the planet. That if we could trust our higher self to take us where we need to go in this life, then we will know that when it is our time to exit, it will be a beautiful time to leave. And in the meantime, trust that divine life energy is guided by that divine intelligence. And if I will simply just move into that awakened state of peace and joy, and especially love for the self, forgiveness for the self, you will find yourself like a cork that's been held underwater that just pops right up to the top, and you can breathe again. Let your spirit, your higher self, take control of that thing called life by getting out of the way, by releasing your fear. The awakened being is at peace, knowing that God's life is always in me. And finally, one of the big things that we talk about a lot is what's happening on our planet, what's happening to our planet. It's everything from pollution to fires to floods to global warming to extinction of species. Again, feeling overwhelming. How do we stop something that huge? And that there's no hope, it's too late, we've done too much damage. That is what the human ego will say. But the awakened being comes back to the one power of God that is for us, that is integrated into this planet, that can heal itself beyond ways that even our little brain can think of right now. But if we can make way for it to be its natural self, it will find its way back to what it is designed to be. It carries the divine intelligence of God within it too. So the question is, as an awakened being, how can I contribute to that? How can I generously give of my time, my energy, my resources, my love to the planet that I am one with, and that what I do to this, I am doing to myself? An awakened being cares, nurtures, gives thanks for, loves the planet and everything that is natural to the planet. There are ways to approach every single one of these difficulties in life from a higher point of view. And consider that all of these world issues came about through individual behavior. It's not like a group of us got together and said, let's wreak havoc on planet Earth. Individuals started first having these negative beliefs and ideas about themselves and about one another, and it spread from there, from selfish desires and from human reactions and from fearful emotions. And the solution has to begin with one individual at a time. You can choose to be an awakened being, can commit your time to spiritual nourishment and learning how to give your faith and your dependency on spiritual resources. Begin by knowing that God is in all of these problems, individual problems and problems of the world, that God is always our source and our wisdom and our life. And that as we look first at God, we are given the tools and the guidance to do what needs to be done. This is the way that Charles Fillmore put it up here on the screen. He said, pronounce every experience good and of God. And by that mental attitude, you will call forth only the good. What seemed error will disappear, and only the good will remain. This is the law, and no one can break it. That's pretty profound, and many of you may struggle with it. But just look at it again. Pronounce every experience good and of God. And what we're doing is we're changing our consciousness to remember, oh, that's right. God and good are in this. And what I focus on from last week, what I focus on, I create more of in this world. But the energy has to shift first within us before we can see a physical change. It begins with our consciousness, and then consciousness will drive our actions. Actions that will lead us toward good, not lead us running in fear or pushing against, but leading us toward the solutions, toward a fulfilling life. And as each one of us do this on an individual basis, little by little, we become models for others. As we raise the Christ consciousness in our own heart and mind, we lift up others who are watching nearby. And little by little, we will see a shift on this planet. Let's take some time in the quiet and just meditate for a little bit on this idea. Just take a deep breath. Where stress is often the cause of all of the ills in the world, we make time to remember, dwell within, to live and move and have our being in God. Imagine yourself enfolded in a circle of light around you and in you. This golden light fills your mind. It is the light that heals our body. Light is the life of God, enlivening every cell in the body. Be it dancing with life from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. I am awake to the life of God. I see this light of God, this golden light, surrounding my home and my belongings, infilling each one. Everything that I use in this physical experience, from money to the bed I sleep in, the food that I eat, it is filled with golden light. This light is everywhere, always giving of itself, the very foundation of our daily bread. Infinite in supply. I am awake to the substance of God that becomes my daily bread. I see this light stretching out into the relationships all around me, my family and friends, co-workers, my acquaintances, the people of my town, my state, and my country. It is a light that draws me toward every being on the planet. That we share this light. I see each of us as beings of light. And the light that stretches between us is of perfect love. This loving light sees us knowing who we are, perfect and whole, loves us, works for our good, desires good for us. And as I behold this light within, through me, and in each being, I know that there is only love, and all things are working together for the good of all beings. And I see this light spreading around our planet, not only radiating from all life on the planet, but now permeating that noosphere, that thinking layer that surrounds us. It is healing that layer of consciousness. It is raising that layer of consciousness, filling it with divine ideas, a divine knowing that there is enough, and each of us are enough. It is an awakened consciousness that looks at life through the eyes of joy and peace. We see this collective consciousness being filled with divine ideas for new growth, new creativity, new life, new ways of being that express the divine within. I am an awakened being, living on an awakened planet, expressing through an awakened consciousness. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Amen. Becoming an awakened being is already happening. You already are becoming that. So just know that though you may not live it 24/7, you are revealing glimpses of your awakening all the time. Have hope. Be enthused about this process. Don't give up. Trust that every time you turn your heart and mind to God, you are awakening. And this is a time in our service where we awaken to more of God's good that flows in and through our lives, and share that good with a sense of gratitude and knowing that God is our source. We share our tithes and love offerings with a spiritual community that we feel supports our growth. So if that's what you feel about Unity, this is your opportunity to help sustain that message and continue to support others in their spiritual growth as we share these love offerings. You can do that through a donate button on your Facebook page, Unity in Naperville Facebook page, or website, unityinnaperville.org. Or if you'd like to send a check, our address is P.O. Box 9733 in Naperville, Illinois, 60567. And in order to truly free our gifts and offerings to do the work that they are designed to do, we bless them. With this offering blessing, will you say it with me together, please? Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Thank you.
I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed.
For the first time today, and just want to invite you to join our mailing list, and then you can receive a weekly e-news that tells you everything that's happening here at Unity in Naperville. Right now, most of it's happening online, but hopefully there's a way for you to be able to connect if you'd like to. So if you'd like to go to unityinnaperville.org, right there on our homepage is a place for you to join our mailing list, and then our newsletter will come out every Tuesday. So thanks for making time for us. Also on Tuesdays and Thursdays, our lunch together online is still happening so that you do not have to be alone no matter how isolated you are physically. If you want to join Kim-Char, Cindy, a lot of fun people that show up at noon on Tuesday and Thursday, you can bring your pets, bring your crackers and juice or, your Subway sandwich, whatever it is.
It could be anything.
Anything.
Ribs are always good for lunch.
Ribs. Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. It's just a nice way to meet new people and also just to have some camaraderie. So do that at unitycommunityconnect.com. And there's a channel for Lunch Together online with a Zoom Connect. Also, our new class on writing your own personal mission statement is going on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. We're using the book The Path by Lori Beth Jones. It's full of exercises and stories that help us find different ways to explore what is our meaning, what is our purpose for being here, how we want to direct our life moving forward. And now is a really good time to be asking that question. So join me on Tuesday nights at 7, unitycommunityconnect.com in the classroom channel, and look for the Zoom link. And also on Fridays, February and March at 7 o'clock, we are doing sharing circles. JP Price is there to help give us some conversation topics to talk about, and then we break off into 3 or 4 people in a group so that you can just easily share, with a small, intimate group about your thoughts. And have you got any new, have you heard any new of the questions lately?
I wasn't there on Friday,
Okay.
but someone tell me.
Yeah.
Write it in the chat.
If
Tell
you
us
were
what the
there on
questions
Friday,
were.
write it in the chat what some of the questions were. And they're fun, they're easy, they're, enlightening. They share who you are with other people. So if you want to start doing that, it's a safe way to get together with people if you're shy. And that, again, is at unitycommunityconnect.com, and go into the Sharing Circles channel on Fridays at 7. And then our courageous writers, if you want to explore what creative writing is all about in another safe way, where you don't even have to tell anybody what you're writing on your page, but you want to do it in a group and be inspired, then join us on Saturday at 10 a.m. at unitycommunityconnect.com in the Courageous Writers channel. And we want to celebrate your birthday if you were born in March. So if you want to have us sing to you on the first Sunday in March, would you send your photograph and name to admin@unityinnaperville.org, and we will make sure and put you up on the screen come that first Sunday in March.
Seriously, send your baby pictures. Those are so
Oh,
adorable.
good idea. Then we'll try and guess who you are.
Yes.
That would be fun. Hey, guess what? We are celebrating Earth Day, which happens in April, by cleaning up the extra styrofoam in our life. So if you've got some styrofoam trash, or you end up with some between now and April, hold on to it and bring it into the building, because yes, the doors will be open at the services on April 11th and 18th, and we'll find a way to get rid of it for you. If you've got food on it, make sure you wash it off first. That would be great. Also, we're saving the date for March 20th, when we'll be doing a watercolor brush pen class, and also a membership class will happen on March 28th and again on April 10th. So check the details on all of these issues at our website, unityinnaperville.org, on our event calendar. Now, I just want to say a few things about what's happening with Staging an Awakening World here in the sanctuary. And first, can I just give a great big thank you to Steve Landry. And so many of you who have been coming in little by little, 1, 2, 3 of you at a time, doing some major things in here, moving chairs. Steve had a painting team in here, but now the front half of the building is painted. Oh, you should see it. It's beautiful. And then we had people come in yesterday who helped to put things back in order again in the front half of the building. So thank you, Margot and Joy and Suzanne and Jeff. And I know Karen and Gordon were in here working on bookkeeping, and Jeff was in here painting. I don't know if you noticed, but there is a black wall there behind the band, right? So lots of wonderful things are going on here, and you have contributed over $23,000 toward this project. So a great big thank you to you. And I'll just start feeding you little bits of information. Here it comes. Are you ready? We are going to have our first service in the building on April 4th, which will be Easter Sunday, for a limited number of people. So in the next few weeks, we'll start giving you instructions about how you can get an digital ticket, so to speak, make a reservation. And what we see is allowing 35 people in for a 9 o'clock service and a 10:45 service, and they will be identical services. So the band will be here, and we'll be doing music in both services just that week. And then after that, we'll start doing one service for 35 people at 10:45 with the band, going forward for a while. So again, we'll schedule meetings, we'll send information out through our e-news, so make sure that you're plugged in somehow, and you'll know when it's time to start coming back to Unity in Naperville. There's going to be, for those of you who could use some personal prayer support today, there are chaplains on hand to pray with you over the phone. So if you would like a chaplain to call you, send an email now to prayer@unityinnaperville.org, and do that between now and 12:30 with your name and your phone number, and one of the chaplains will call you between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. Okay, do we have another song to sing?
We do.
Okay, let's sing.
Let's end with a song written by our friend Bob Sima.
Yeah.
We send it out, each of us, as a blessing to everyone around us. Here we be loved. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. And may you be loved. Let's do that again. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. And may you be loved. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. And may you be loved. To all of my relations, I bow to you. We are all related. A common thread runs right through, and we can sing this simple song for the ones in pain, and we sing for the suffering. May these words melt their pain away. Oh, may you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. And may you be loved. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. And may you be loved. Oh, may you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. And may you be loved. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. And may you be loved. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. And may you be loved.
Well, that was the absolute perfect song to end on. Holy cow, love that. That is an awakened being singing that song. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. So in a minute here, we're going to want to hear from you. So if you want to send in your texts or comments, you can do that at the text number 630-793-0993. Just any comments about today, any questions about today or where we're headed, please pipe in. And you can also just use the comment box for Facebook or the website and let us know what's on your mind right now. But here's our closing affirmation for today, in case you want to do this with us before you take off. Up here on the screen, just allow this whole Awakened series to kind of culminate right here together. For every human challenge, I am awake to the spiritual solution. Yes, we can be. Yes, we are. Thank you for that. We love you guys. Hope to see you again soon. Or send in your text right now to us, and we'll chat with you right now. Who's got something to say? Why, look, is it possible to record the mission class? I'm taking my husband out for dinner on his birthday this Tuesday. First time we will be in a restaurant in almost a year. I just don't.
Oh, that is big.
I
That is
just don't want to
exciting.
miss this class. We have to ask permission from the students to see if they're willing for their class to be recorded. So maybe not. We'll let you know. Okay, somebody said, can't wait to be back together in the building. It is looking so great. And Suzanne, that's from Suzanne. Thank you, Suzanne, for helping it look so great. 'Cause I know you
Yes.
put a lot of energy into this, along with a lot of our friends. Thank you for that.
Cindy Spees says the same thing. So excited about church reopening. A lot of people.
Oh,
love
yeah.
it.
Oh,
you know.
yeah. Loved every minute of today. Thank you, every unibody. Unibody that made this service happen today. Love you, Rev Kitty. See you Tuesday night for class. That's Mary Beth. Awesome.
Woo-hoo. And Cynthia Moon, great Bob Sima song. Yes, it is. And if you've had a chance to listen to all of his other music, it just leaves you floating.
Yes.
Your spirit lifted.
Definitely.
Oh.
As a matter of fact, somebody else here said that song is just what I needed. Awesome.
Yes, yes.
Me too. That felt perfect.
Laura says, looking forward to Easter service.
I know.
Oh, wow.
I know.
People back in the building, Kitty.
That, I just
That-
don't know what to do.
I know. It's like, it's so funny. You get used to not interacting so much with people. We had someone knock on our door yesterday. They had their mask, but they were handing out some sort of flyer for someone running for office, and I didn't know what to do. I'm like, do
Leave
I
it on
take
the door.
Yeah, I said, keep it on the door. Do I open the door? Say, wait, what do you do? It's, we're gonna have to get used again to being
Yeah.
together, I guess.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Little by little,
Little
we'll
by
ease
little.
our way back into this. I know that some of you may not be ready to come back in April, and so we'll still be live streaming. You can still enjoy us on Sunday mornings through your comfy couch and computer, and we look forward to connecting with you that way. But just excited to get this moving towards the solution, the fulfillment,
yes.
the expression of life. And what a great time to do that on Easter Sunday.
Althea, we were asking what are some of the questions they had for sharing circles.
Yeah.
She goes, this was one of the questions. If you could do it all over again, what occupation would you choose? So questions like those. which
Yeah,
makes
good
you
one.
Go, huh.
Good one.
And speaking of JP, who hosts and facilitates that, she says, great day to be alive, and I'm so blessed and grateful. That's what a heart
I
that's
love
kind of
that.
just
That's-
jumping
yeah,
out of his
that's
chest.
an awakened point of view.
Amen.
Amen.
And you got the question already about Zoom playback for the mission statement. So, hi, Kathleen. I see a lot of little hearts from people. Kathleen Durback Hopt. Beth has got a little heart there. Cammie, Kelly Meinhardt. Blessings to all of you this morning.
Looking forward to seeing your faces soon. It's kind of like that magic mirror from Romper Room. And I see Cammie, and I see Maria, and I see Sue. Remember those days? Okay, maybe not.
Oh, Althea is sharing another question that
Okay.
they had. What is the greatest invention in your lifetime, and why? Do you think
Ooh, the
that-
greatest invention. That'd be a fun
Our
question to
life-
answer. Wow, we've seen a
in
lot.
our lifetime, right?
Greatest invention.
Oh, wow.
Well, I want to say computers, right? Technology.
Right? That would the microchip.
Yeah.
The internet.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Okay, you guys, anything else you want to say? Otherwise, what we're going to do is go into the Zoom room now and see you face to face. So if you'd like to do that, go over to unitycommunityconnect.com, and there'll be a little waiting room for you to wait in, and then we'll come let you in, and I'll be there, and we can chat for a little while. Maybe the rest of these gang will pop in, not sure. unitycommunityconnect.com, and then also go into the live stream chat
Yes.
channel and look for the Zoom link, okay?
Click.
And in the meantime, hope to see you at one of the many events this week that are coming up. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you again soon.
Blessings, everyone.